Ah, my good and dear friends. This is Londo Molare, and I'm watching the Bad News Bards on Tennessee Tabletop Tavern.
Hello, Cam.
Good evening. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. I mean, well,
Well,
I'm doing all right, other than the obvious.
you
Let's
want
show
to tell
everybody.
the folks about it?
Yeah, we'll. Oh man, let me turn my camera on. Oh wow, look at that. Oh, so I decided I was going to go to the store about 2 hours ago, and right outside my carport, I looked pretty clear, dry, and all that stuff. Looked like the neighbors had shoveled our shared driveway down. I guess I underestimated their veracity because that happened. Yeah. So yeah, that's my truck. There's trees, and those trees, by the way, are about 3 feet down a slope from where the driveway pavement is. So yeah, that's gonna be fun. So I'll have to deal with that tomorrow. I'm not going anywhere tonight. The neighbors behind me. They parked at the end of our driveway, which is driveway's like maybe a tenth of a mile long, or maybe a little longer than that. So
Something you don't want to shovel by hand, right?
no. So, any rate, so that's my fun. That was, like I said, about 2 hours ago. Oh, here, get back there. And Paul is waiting in the wings, so I'm going to go ahead and bring him on.
Yes.
And I should probably change my background. That looks like it's a Babylon 5 background, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's not Babylon 5 night. This is tabletop time.
I know. There, let's see. Oh, no. Where is it? Oh, there we go. Oh, here. That's better. I'll have to put my camera on it. Let me bring him on, and we'll add him to the conversation here. There he is. The man, the myth, the legend.
Yes.
How was dinner tonight?
Dinner, by the way, was fine. That's a whole long story, but the short version is we were invited over to somewhere to celebrate a birthday, and they cooked dinner, but did not offer us any dinner. We ate a cookie cake and ice cream, and then they ate after we left, but all the food was out on the kitchen counter.
Oh my God.
and offered none to us. So,
Well, I mean, cookie cake doesn't sound that bad.
well, it's not, but if you haven't had dinner, if you're going to have a party at 5 o'clock, I mean, hey, have some chicken nugs or something. I mean, I'm not looking for
Yeah.
steak and potatoes here. So,
Yeah. No lobster. No.
yeah, no lobster, no lobster. How unfortunate, but it's fine because then we took my father-in-law home, and somebody had given him a rotisserie chicken. So I carved his rotisserie chicken, gave him took a few pieces for myself, and there we go. So that's that.
Well, good. So you have a couple of
And let me see. I
things.
will go and become visual as well. How about that? That way you
Yeah.
don't have to be
By
have to suffer
myself on
alone there.
camera. Yeah.
That's
I will
right.
just-
That's right.
I will just hover in the background.
He shall lurk.
Cam is our international. What do I say? Interplanar man of mystery.
Mm,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
sounds very
Yeah.
important.
Yeah. So I was telling Cam before you popped in about the Tracy Hickman being on with Greyhawk Grognard. You caught that,
Yeah.
didn't you? That was
I
pretty
did. I was
sweet.
well, I thought I'd get a little shout out being that I am, Flint Fireforge as far as the as far as the name goes.
Right.
I thought I'd get a little recognition there. So I put a few jabs in. Like, well, the first thing I said, I just says me saying Flint Fireforge, thanks for creating me was like the first comment. And then I don't know if I posted this or not, but I said, when is the next Flint novel coming out or something like that? And so being flippant, and I was like, well, I better not jab too hard. It's not my
Yeah.
I said, well, I said, I'll be gentle. But nope, didn't get the shout, but that's okay.
For my money, I think Flint got a little bit of a short shrift on in the novels. I mean, he was he had an untimely demise, as many of us know. And
Yeah.
What are you talking about? I don't know nothing about
oh,
that.
I mean, he
But-
lived a long
spoiler
and healthy
alert.
life. Is what I meant.
Spoiler alerts. Come on.
Yeah.
It came out in
About 40 years.
1984. Come on.
Golly.
You know me, man. I'm slow to everything.
He's in book 2 right now.
No, I'm still in book 1.
Well,
Almost finished
sorry.
with book 1.
I
Alright.
suggested before this show began, I suggested to Death Angel Shadow here that he do a review, or kind of like we do on our Babylon 5 show of
Yeah.
the original Chronicles. Since he's never read it before, and I have, and other people, of course, have a little panel discussion and such about that. A classic.
We could do that. Yeah. I need to be able to get reading again, because I was reading it really, really well for I don't know, several days, and then just life. I don't know if I had to work or too much or something like that, and I have the book still sitting
That's-
on my arm on the armchair of my easy chair.
Yeah, no excuses. No
I know.
excuses.
Well, and when I do read, I just read and read and read and read,
Mhm.
But then I get distracted because I scroll,
Yeah.
Well, they're
All right,
fantastic
so-
novels.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And
Well,
go
sorry,
ahead.
go ahead.
Go ahead, Cam. I was going to say you have
you
a
want me to-
general question that you always like to ask. So why don't you go ahead and take it, because I know you're dying to know.
I am indeed. I like to ask our guests about their role-playing origin story. And since obviously, you were taken by Dragonlance and such, was that part of it? Was that early in it? Was it, after you had started the game? But how did you start out in role-playing?
I started out in I think it was 1983. Started out with the red box, and I played with a bunch of my high school friends, and really we did mostly homebrew stuff. There was really not a lot of modules. I mean, not that they weren't accessible, but we did. Our DM, who was our DM for all of our high school years, just never used him. He just made up his own stuff, and so we just never. And so I didn't get into Dragonlance probably till, I don't know, maybe a year later, maybe 2. But But yeah, that's when I got started, and so Dragonlance played a part, I think, in just my overall love of fantasy. So
Sure.
because it's the epic tale, right? It's the high
Absolutely.
drama, the high fantasy of it all. So
Hmm. So did you? So you started out with Redbox. That's about the same time I started out too. But it must have been right before the the Back Me stuff came out because mine was the BX.
Mhm.
Just before that. But did you stick with basic expert stuff, or did you move on to AD&D quickly? Or
Yeah, actually we played first edition. So
okay,
so we played first edition all those years, and I don't know. I don't think maybe we dabbled in second edition a little bit, maybe a little bit later on, but I don't think we ever really dove head first into it.
okay. Yeah, I was kind of short in the official D&D, like much like yourself. It was a lot of homebrew stuff, but we kind of went fully out of the system. It was still fantasy. I mean, it's essentially a D&D, but the DM that I played with was, considerably older than I was. He was in college, and he loved doing his own stuff. So he didn't like the first time I ever played with him, he had the AD&D books and he said, "These mean nothing." And I threw them aside in a big show. So and it worked out, but then I came back to, and I know this isn't about me, it's about you, but just because you mentioned the second edition, I did eventually come back to playing second edition and then got back into it, D&D from there. But I honestly, if I'm not a fan of second edition, I'd much rather play first edition given the choice.
Well, sure, and I don't guess I don't mind second edition. I mean, I'd probably play it if somebody was running it and they wanted to do a one shot or a short campaign or something. It'd be fine. But I'd be down for Red Box. I'd be down. I'm really not a fussy game player. Like if it's good, if the DM's good, you can play. You can play bad games if you have good DMs.
Sure.
I think, right? So I'm able. I'm like, hey, let's go ahead and play. We're messing around, do some things, and we'll have a good time with it no matter what system we're doing. I mean, because we played not only that, man, we played Star Frontiers, we played Marvel superheroes from TSR. So we had to play a lot of things, and obviously not all those systems are easy. You have to you gotta massage them a little bit. But other than that, I mean, if you're hanging with the right people, I think you can play whatever game you want, whatever system you want.
You sound like a true gamer.
I think I like to think I am. I try to be, as flexible as I can be both as a player and as a DM. And, when you play and you're, if you're in a group of other people who DM and those things, you want to be the kind of player that you would want them to be in your game. So you just, you try to be flexible, play your role, stay in your lane. Don't be a spotlight hog and all that stuff.
That is some excellent advice that many people could take to heart. I'm not saying I've never been a spotlight hog, but it's not good. So,
well, yeah, it's not great. Yeah,
Erudite, who I guess I'm trying to fill the footsteps, those deep dwarven footsteps that you left here, because you were running with the guys that I have been, right? And you just got tied up, couldn't do the sessions or something like that.
Shadow Dark, you mean?
Yeah.
Shadow. Yeah. My schedule changed to where I wasn't getting home from work till real late. So I told those guys, I mean, they want me to play, but I said, look, I'm not going to be a very good player. I said, I will just come in and I will be tired. I'll be annoyed. I will be several things. I said, I will remove myself from the table. So I will not be a downer on the table, because I'll just be like, super quiet. I'll turn off my camera and take a nap, or something. It'll be rough. So you don't want me at the table if I'm tired and all that stuff coming in from work.
Cranky player or cranky GM or crankier GM?
That also depends. I would not try to run a game after work. That's for sure. So I would I have to have a certain amount of rest, before I tackle a session of any kind. So. I would not put my players through I would not want to put my players in those positions if I'm in a cranky mood. Like, oh, it's not your guys' fault, but you're going to die anyway.
One of the players in the game group I mentioned that I played with for a long time was a postman, and he worked probably about 60 miles away from where he lived. So he would get up at, again, the post office works early to begin with. So he'd get
Yep.
up probably 5 a.m., drive all the way out there. By the time he got to the game table, he was 12, 13 hours into his day to begin with. So many naps were taken at the table.
Oh, no question. And when you're young, I mean, look, we played all night. I mean, we literally played all. We took brief naps. We
Yep.
drank all the Mountain Dew we could drink. We would we'd crash, and then we'd wake up. We'd go back to the table. We'd play some 2 or 3 more hours. Go back and eat breakfast. Then go back and we'd play 12, 15 hours. So it was
Well,
that was the life.
That's a good question, or that's a good point, because even up to 5 years ago or so, um, Jeanette and I we would go we would game probably once a month. We lived in Central Florida, and we would drive over to the coast, which is about 45 minutes to an hour drive away, to a friend of ours. And he would host us. I would run, and it was an all day event, man. And we would probably all get there sometime around 11, 12, 1, and then we would run until 1, 2 in the morning. Now, that was not a solid 12 hours. There was, we'd kind of get there and we'd have some snacks. So, broccoli and dip, or chips, or, that type of stuff. Then we would probably, we would have like maybe lunch or dinner, or both, depending. And he was a really good cook too, by the way. He made pierogies from
Ooh.
Scratch.
How about that?
Now you're talking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm a picky eater, and he would cater to me. Maybe because I was the DM, but I think he genuinely loved doing it. So, I had never had like handmade. I mean, I had Mrs. T's or whatever, the frozen ones that, I eat those all the time. They taste good with ketchup, but I don't know what
Okay.
else to put. I don't know what else to eat them with. That's what I eat them with. The
Sure.
potatoes. Okay, ketchup, that works.
Sure. Why not?
I eat like a 5-year-old. but yeah, no, I didn't know that traditionally some people will put like like cabbage. What do you call it? Sauerkraut.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I had never heard of putting sauerkraut, and he's like, "Oh yeah, man," and they were great. So,
Oh, yeah.
but those long, but it was an all day event, but it was only once a month that we would do that.
Yeah.
So we tried to maximize the game. Of course, 5th edition didn't help. And the more people that we collected, the longer combat sessions would run, like an hour or two.
Yeah. Yeah. And as you get older, you want to scale your games for your maximum energy times, right? You want to,
Right.
I wouldn't do like a 5-hour game. Like, I run games occasionally. I run them, professionally. People will want to, pay me to run games for them and so forth. And I'll be out of town, but they were wanting me to run a 4-hour game for their daughter who was coming home from college, who had played. And I looked at it and I went, 4 hours, 4 hours. Okay. I'm usually about a 3.5 hour guy. 4 hours is kind of pushing, but it's okay. I think I kind of, but I was going to be out of town anyway. But I find that too. I mean, I don't know. I mean, when you're a kid, you could play. You're arguing most of the time as a teenager. We were arguing about rules.
About the rules. Yeah.
So, how much game time do we have? I don't know. But trying to run a game or trying to keep people engaged for that long period of time, you can try. I don't know. I don't know if that's there may be a limit on that, and I also try to limit my table if I can. I try not to do more than 5, because for that reason, that you're not going to get. Nobody's going to get a lot of time to do anything. Nobody's going to get a lot of time to do the thing that they want to do. I ran my largest game is I ran a game for a group of 40-year-olds who had never played, and it was a birthday party for one of the guys. And I think I want to say there was 1, 2, 3, 8 at the table. It's the largest group I've done. And I say, whoa, boy, that was a lot. That was a lot going on there. A lot going on. And so I had to scale it. I had to like knock things out. I was like, okay, we're taking the East Expressway to the end of this adventure because there's no way we're going to complete anything.
Yeah.
Did you ask them what they've been doing for their 40 years, missing out and never having played before?
I didn't ask them. I mean, of course, I probably joked with them and said, "Well, listen, man, you guys, that's the one thing too. Is like, this is a hobby that you can play forever. Like, there'll be a day maybe when you can't play golf, which I hate golf, so I'm glad I don't play it.
Yeah.
I'm bad at it anyway.
It's boring to me.
One day your hip goes out or this goes out or something happens. There's things you're not going to be able to do. But I remember walking into a game store, and this guy was probably older than Methuselah. I mean, he was probably pushing 80 maybe, and he was running a game. I said, buddy, you are my hero. I said, I want to be like you when I grow up. Because that guy was still on it. And I'm like, well done, sir. Well done.
Was this over there in Alabama, or was it?
Yeah, it was in Birmingham. Yeah, it was my local game shop, and I happened to be there one night. I don't know why I was there. Maybe I had gone through. What got me back in was I think I might have been there for Pathfinder Society or something, because that's what got me back into gaming after a hiatus. And so he was playing. He was running a game or something. And he was like, buddy, tell me how old you are or something. I think he told me like 75, 76. I was like, God bless you, man.
So he may have been. He was around in the day when the hallowed fathers of
OD&D, buddy, he was there.
Yeah,
he was there. Probably
he might have been part of the group. Even he could have been one of the ones corresponding by post, and I can imagine
play by post, all those things. Yeah, he's but that's just one of those things you can do until the wheels fall off if you want to. It's that kind of hobby.
Pick up the phone, call Gary himself direct. Information. What's Gary?
It would not have doubted if he was like in Dragon Magazine or he had written things or those type of things where that he could have been a part of. I didn't get once again. I wish I would have had more time to sit and talk with him, but we just talked very brief, and he was having a good time. I'm like, good for you.
God
man.
love him.
Keep going.
So, not to grill you anymore about your origin, but so it's from reading the chat here from Erudite DM. Is Shadow Dark and Castles and Crusades your mainstay today?
It's I like to try different systems. I don't think I'm married to any one particular system. I like to run because it's challenging to me. Of course, there's probably systems that I like more so than others. But for me, Castles and Crusades is a really good game because, and I think Erudite was asking why I like it so much, is because it has what's called the siege system, and the siege system basically says that if you're a class or a particular race, that you have certain your prime requisites, your prime abilities is what you're good at, which means other people are not good at that. So if you're a fighter, you're really good at strength and at other things like that. But if you're a thief, well, guess what? Well, Dex is your primary. So on the dice, if you're making a roll for your prime, your prime ability, then your number is going to be like 12. If you are rolling the dice and you are trying to roll on something that is not your prime ability, that's going to be an 18, right? Give or take, lower or higher.
Prime or non-prime, yep.
Right, depending, right? So you will roll then on those dice. So I think in that system, I like it because everybody gets to everybody gets to play their role. You don't have 10 people being able to do the same thing.
Right.
You get to be very unique in that sense. In Shadow Dark, I just enjoy Shadow Dark because it's an easy system to run. It's not super complicated. It's fun. It's deadly. When I was playing with those guys with with Erudite and some of these other guys playing. I mean, I had, characters die. I mean, you could die so quickly. I mean, it just, and just terrible things happen in, it depends who, like Tim from Gothridge Manor was running, and, his world that he's in, that we're in, is super deadly. Like, if you can't play around in that stuff, if you're out in the woods, buddy, you better keep your head on a swivel, because like, if your magic doesn't work, like, that's the system. Like, if you fail and you lose your spell, you're cooked, man. Or if you're a cleric and you fail your spell, then you got to do penance and on certain numbers, things like that. So the system is fun because you can fail, right? It's something that we have lost, that we all have to, everybody has to be winners somehow in the game, right? You're not allowed to lose a character. I know there's a lot of videos going around now about PC death, things like that. And hey, my I it teaches you that life is short, okay? If nothing else, okay? You should go ahead and play your character, and then when they are no longer around, carry on. Just roll up something else. You'll be fine.
Yeah. I've played a couple of Castles and Crusades games. Both of them with DM Chuck Cumbo, who works for Troller Games.
Yeah. Yeah, I've
And
seen him on several lives. Yeah.
yeah. He and I talk all the time. And I love CNC. But the whole prime non-prime thing, D10 for initiative,
For initiative,
yeah, it's very classic. And people like to say, "Oh, it's based on 3rd edition." No. It was not based on 3rd edition.
Who said that?
I hear people say that all the time. "Oh, it's
Who
kind of
says
based
that?
on 3rd edition." And I'm like, "No. It was if you listen to Steven Chenault, he will tell you the reason why this was created was because of 3rd edition. He hated 3rd edition and didn't want to go to it. Now, I personally cut my DMing teeth on 3rd edition. You on the red box?
Yeah.
Did you? Yeah. So, so for me, I finally stuck my toe in the water with 3rd or 3.5. So, what's the level? Davina.
What's the level?
Yeah. No, these are still class-based games. This is not Traveler. We're not playing a classless game. Well, I mean, we might be classless, right? But
True.
But speaking of that, what do you think? Have you played any of these other systems, the classless type systems?
No, not. I mean, well, I say that. That's not true. I didn't play it, but I've run it. Now, I work at a boys and girls club. And so
Right.
part of this is teaching different systems, right? I like to because kids, and I think people in general, right? You kind of feel out what they're able to take in, how they, play and those things. And I ran Tiny Dungeons, which is
Okay.
a 2d6 game. And so, you're going to play a character, but like I said, it's very rules light. It's very well written, by the way. Rules light, it gets a bad rap because you think, well, that means nothing, which is not true, at least for Tiny Dungeons, because I think it's played out very well. You're playing a character. Those things. It's not necessarily. I don't think it's necessarily class based, but in playing that, I played that with a group for about 4 weeks, 5 weeks, and they enjoyed themselves. They had a good time. Kids who have the only people arguing about these things are old D&D people.
Yeah. Are you
Kids
saying
don't care.
we're curmudgeonly?
I'm saying that the only people that care about those things are a certain generation of people who complain about those things. Kids just want to play, man.
Yeah.
They are, you can sense a little bit of that energy, that energy that we used to play with, right? That we didn't care. I mean, we kind of cared. I mean, if you're playing a thief and you're having to roll percentiles all the time to to do your thing, right? Well,
Yeah.
I got a 10% chance. Okay, great. But for them, it was rolling the 2d6. They were fine with that. But let me tell you something. When you got a 6 or double sixes for them, just the same as somebody rolling a 20. So, I mean, and I've done, D6 with them, Castle Crusades with a couple of other groups, running 5e. currently for a couple of kids at one club. So yeah, so I mean, to me, it doesn't matter. It's let's play the game. What are we doing? Why are we gonna okay, if no classes is not your jam, that's okay. Everybody's got their particular things, and that's why they like certain systems or certain games and those things. And I'm like, look, I'll try anything once.
Yeah.
And say let's give it a shot. I don't know how I feel. You know what? I don't know how I feel about player forward games, right? Or player facing games where the players do all the rolling. So example, it's assumed in games that my rolls will always hit. DM does not do a lot of rolling unless they're rolling for an encounter or those things. But things like combat, it's assuming that my characters, my NPCs, my enemies or opponents are going to hit, and you have to roll to defend yourself against them. So I don't have a lot of experience with that. I'm actually semi interested. Maybe I'd like to see how it plays. I don't know how it'd be really weird for me not to roll dice during that time. So I just have to, get the feeling behind it and see how well I could run that.
Yeah. The 2d6 game that you were talking about sounds a lot like almost DM Scotty's Easy D6 too. It sounds in that same vein.
It is. I think it is. I think Scotty has both have their things, but I have Scotty stuff as well, which that's a system I would like to run for students and see how they feel about it. I've also run Professor Dungeon Master's system.
Is Deathbringer?
Deathbringer, yeah. I ran Deathbringer. I had to call it something else though. It's really hard. You got to be careful when you're playing. Like this was in a school setting. Well, it was in a school setting too. Like here's this guy bringing in Deathbringer. Like
Deathbringer in a school. That could be misconstrued.
There's things in the game, so I had to like rename it, that's what made me come up with my own program. I call it Questers. Because everybody's questing for something, right? So it falls into kind of the social emotional learning, that kind of stuff. And so, so even playing his system is a very good system. It's very, very different. So, yeah, so there's a lot of games out there that I think are at least worth giving a try. Once again, it's just if you're hung up on rolling a D20, if that's just your focus, then stay with that. It's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I remember Shadowrun, what was it? A lot of D10s, or was it D10s? Or I forget now. I'm going back to the 90s there. It's been so long. I know there's a lot of systems that use D10s, a lot of them that just like to stick with D6s just because if you can go buy a D6 at Walmart.
Exactly.
You couldn't always go buy. Yeah, I mean, worst comes to worst, go buy Yahtzee. You got a bunch of them,
right? And you bring up a good point there because the D6 systems, a kid may not know where to go to get a D20. I mean, of course, you can order it on Amazon, but if he's got Monopoly at the house, he can grab 2 dice out of a box and start role playing and say, "Oh, we got a system. We got the dice. That's all we need. A couple of 2 6-sideds, and we're good to go."
Yeah. Every day he says he's questing not to be murdered every week.
Well, these kids were a bunch of murder. The ones who were playing this
murder hobos.
They are a feral bunch. There was one incident where I said, "Here we have this." I think they were facing a froghemoth, and they said, "Well, what do you want to do?" And one of the young ladies said, "Well, we should sacrifice someone." I said, "What?" So yeah, we should sacrifice someone. Well, who do you want to sacrifice? And they pointed at one of their fellow players. They're like, "What are you going to sacrifice me for?" I'm like, "Okay, these children, holy mackerel, they were vicious. They didn't care. They thought that was funny," which brought me back to the fact that we didn't care. We were like, "Yeah, let's murder things and and torture our friends."
Yeah. Now, are they broken apart? You're doing this at with the Boys and Girls Club.
Yeah.
And I guess you travel to several of them, 2, 3, 4.
As the teen director, I try to get around to all the clubs. Some are in schools after program schools. Some are in, other locations. Some have permanent locations.
Right.
And so, yeah, so I try to get around, at least, I'm at a different club twice a week. So I try to, do that. My current club is Fantasy Fridays. So right after school, they'll come in and we'll play for about 45. We only really have that window is we only have about 45 minutes there, but they rolled up their 5e characters this past, 2 weeks ago. And then we're gonna, start running adventures, and then we're gonna go for about 3 or 4 weeks, and then I'm gonna give them I give them certificates at the end that they completed the adventure. I let them keep their dice. They have these. I give them these Quester journals
Yeah.
that they can write on, because that teaches them to take notes, right? Because I mean, who doesn't want a player that takes notes?
Oh my God, we're gonna have kids that actually know how to write and
Well,
read.
we're hoping,
Oh my
right?
gosh.
I said
Hey.
you can take notes, right? You got your sessions in there, right? You remember what you did, because who doesn't want a player at the table who knows what the heck went on? Like last session, like what did we do last session? Well, then they look in their book and they tell you what they fought, or what they did, and so but that's also a good skill for anything.
Yeah.
But it's whether you do it on your phone or you do it with your pen, but it's also an educational skill, taking
Yeah.
notes, right? So of it for anything.
Yeah, and they're actually using pen and paper or pencil and paper.
Yeah, well, physical media trying to make
I
a
love
comeback.
Love my physical media, man. I try to look. I've said this for the longest time, and I know you publish. You've got a bunch of zines published.
Yeah, some.
I was looking. There's a fair number there.
I was gonna say you look. That's the fanciest intro that I've ever seen. So I'll just have to copy and paste, I guess, because you put all my little things up
I
there that I have.
tried to get
I
as
don't even
many
know.
as
I
I
don't
can.
remember what I have.
Yeah, yeah. And it looks like there was 2 number 1 Crit Happens, but I think one is based on what's the deal with that?
If
So
it's
one is horror based, I guess, and one is
right. Well, one has to do with my world of Kriash, which is
okay.
the setting I have, which I don't think that's
Right.
not wrong. That's number 7. But
Yeah.
then my other Crit Happens, which are kind of just stuff that I just want to put my thoughts in there, right? So it's just general gaming advice. So there'd be
Yeah.
the Crit Happens for this, and then there's Crit Happens. Well, that's why the covers, just look different in that regard, because one's more about hex crawling and about the setting, and this one's more about just general advice.
Yeah. They look great. And they're POD, right? They're print on demand.
No, they're PDFs.
Oh, okay.
And
Can
you can get
them?
them. I get them done at my local print shop. I send them to them and say, hey, give me this half page, tan cover, do it, and they give it to me, and they're done.
Are they putting is that 8.5 by 11 that you're using there? Or is that,
Yep, 8.5 by 11. So
I got a laser printer behind me. I suppose I can.
you sure can, absolutely.
Yeah. Print them out and maybe get some cardstock for the cover. A little bit thicker paper for the covers, right? Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's what. Yeah, this cardstock. It's cardstock
Yeah.
for the cover for me. Yeah.
A little heavier weight, yeah.
Mhm.
So did I put the link? Yeah, I've dropped the link for that in
Thank you.
in the chat.
Mhm.
Everybody check those out. I know I've got I got a lot of them, a lot of catching up to, but they're not too expensive either. I mean,
I think
a
they're
lot of them are $2.
I think they're all the zines are $2.
Yeah.
And I don't want to make it super expensive. I mean, I bundle them together. So, if you want to buy a bundle of them and get a hex crawl bundle, you can buy like 9 or 10 zines. I think you get like 9 and you get like the 10th one's free in there. So, I think you pay $18.99 or $17.99, something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, here's character tent cards for $1. The quest journal is that kind of like your questers thing that you've got there for the kids, or is it a little more?
That's a different one I made. That's the first one I ever made, which was
Oh,
like
okay.
like a role. It was like a the way I designed it was that this is a book given to you by somebody, like whoever your patron is or something like that. It was like a book that they gave you to keep track of whatever you were doing for them, the adventures you were doing for them and things like that. So yeah, it has a lot of the other things, note taking, These are a lot. The other ones I have are much more sparse, just for writing, and those journals had a little bit more in it. But
Yeah.
yeah.
So the Hex Crawl of Horror bundle.
Yeah.
So that's $20. So that so that one includes what?
Well, that
How many of 'em?
includes 1 through 9, I think. So, I think 1 through 9 or 1 through 10. So that's what it's basically you're looking at that.
8. Yeah. I mean, that's not bad. Now something like that, I like the idea of that. You almost could do it as a print on demand at that point.
The thing about that, though, I mean, I could. The thing about printing them, for me to print them, the price would have to go up, because obviously the print shop's going to charge me to print,
Right.
which is fine. But with my schedule, once again, it's not conducive to me sometimes running out to or putting them in the mail or those things. So I try to make it as frictionless as possible. If you want the resource, you want the stuff, because most people are reading it on their phones, they're reading it on their iPads, but there are people who do want physical media, and they can print it out, take it to the local, Kinko's or their Office Depot or whatever.
I buy everything in print and PDF. PDF
Okay.
is a nice bonus, but I like print. All of I all of my CNC books are physical. I do have the PDFs for them as well, but they're all physical. And then so for me, the way I find it, I can't. You can't. I don't think you can enjoy reading a PDF. You can enjoy reading a book, physical book. But PDFs are great resources for searching. They're a great resource material. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't even know if I got it down here. Yeah. Like this is when I'm gonna try my hand running tomorrow. This is Tom Wilson's book, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So
I think I
this
have
is
something from Tom Wilson.
yeah, and it's for Shadow Dark, So I've got this physically, but I also have the PDF of it. So the PDF is great for being able to pull, the images out. Being able to use those for gaming purposes and stuff like that, which
Sure.
I've got some work to do, but I mean that's but I can sit and enjoy and read this sitting in my easy chair. Yeah, I've got a tablet if I can find it. I don't know what I did with it. I mean, I have my phone, but I'm not reading on my phone. I'm old. Uh, can you imagine?
Well, yeah, one thing that people like about my zine, or at least the ones that have said, is they enjoy the large print.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's not tiny print. By the way, I would just answer a question here. Cathonic's Musing asked if the DM diagnostic is still available. Yep, still available. It's not going anywhere.
I think that's one of the images that I put on the
it is.
The intro. So yeah. But yeah, no, I am definitely a print person, but I do, like I said, I like to have the resources available too. If I can only get it in PDF, I can print it out myself,
And if I were to show you, I mean, my office down here looks a lot like yours in the background there, except on 4 walls. So it's, my need for I don't need more physical things. That's the thing. It's eventually I will be a hoarder and terrible, and then I will just die underneath the weight of all the books. They will come in, they will have to take they will you've seen hoarders, that's what it'll look like. It'll just be like I will be covered up in books, and they will have to drag my body out, and then they will have to do something with all the stuff. So I'm trying to be cautionary in that regard too, because my kids are going to have to deal with that someday. So there will be a purge at some point.
Well, I mean, you can see in here. I've got my here. Let me embiggen it so you can see. Maybe maximize. There you go.
Yeah,
You
you
can
have
click.
three. You have three. You have three or two. You have two or three bookcases.
Yeah, there's a couple. There's a couple of them. You can't see them because of the chat here, but
Okay, yeah. Well, yeah, I can
um,
see him now. I can kind of see him between in the thing there. Yeah.
yeah. Here, let me turn that off.
Seven.
So, interestingly enough, you see the books on the third from the left or shelf. You see the books up there
Yep.
to the right. Those are not books. Those are games.
Oh, okay then.
They're this neat Kickstarter that I got in on a couple of years ago, and one of them actually is not a game. It's just the case.
Hmm,
But
okay.
they look like books, but they're actually board games. They're like quick and easy tabletop board games.
Sure,
So,
sure. Well,
but
they know that people want to display them right on their shelves, so
oh
figure
yeah,
out make them look like books on the at least on one side.
but as you can see, I've gone for a lot of the OAR stuff. I don't know. We lost Cam here. He dropped off. I got a lot of the OAR stuff. He'll be back. He'll be back. He's probably had an internet glitch.
Yeah. Well, I see you also have a Castles and Crusades print of it looks like the player's handbook.
I have 2 of them.
Oh, okay.
3.
3? That's a lot.
Probably gonna have a 4th one here. Yeah, well, so I have the 10th printing and
Uh-huh.
the 9th printing, the 10th printing, and of course the 11th printing is coming out too. It's actually available now, which they just
Mhm.
changed the cover and fixed a couple of things. No major things. So it's not like it's a reforged. It's not just like
Right.
the last one was.
Right.
Um,
Right. Yep.
So,
In fact, I have
but
a Castles and Crusades book coming in tomorrow, Engineering Villages.
oh, did you get that? What do you think
Did.
about that series?
Well, I don't know. This has been my first in that series. I only have really the 3 core books, right? So I have the Castle Keeper, the Player's Guide, and the Monster book. So this would be my
Oh,
first
okay. So
full
this is
day
your
into some other
first extra book.
first
Yeah, I've got.
extra physical. I should say extra physical book. I do have a folder filled because I don't think I have the Engineering Villages in my PDFs.
Yeah, yeah. Chris, Moneymaker. I've actually. He is the he ran. Ran the first Dark Sun game that I've ever played in. It using 2nd edition, and it was it last month? Was it after? It was after Christmas, right, Chris? At any rate, totally foreign world to me. I ran in Forgotten Realms. That was my, when I was running D&D. That was the setting that I was introduced as a player to. When I got back into gaming, in 85, I don't remember what I was doing in 85, but when I that's when I got introduced to it. I was, 7th grade, right?
Right, right.
Denjon Middle School, home of the dragons. Not kidding. That was our mascot. Was
There
a
we
red
go.
dragon.
There we go.
Mr. Holmes was our history teacher. He was also a Civil War reenactor, and I was not part of the D&D club, but he was the sponsor of the D&D club. They didn't rope me into it back then. They should have. I would have been playing probably heavily since then. But I was introduced by a buddy of mine. Years later, I ran into him at Coliseum of Comics in Kissimmee, Florida. And I'm like, oh, hey, I remember you. Did you used to teach middle? He's like, yeah. I'm like, how long you been here? Since then, I still work. That's his. Teachers, of course, they only work for what, like 9 months out of the year.
That's right.
So that's his summer gig and weekend type stuff. He worked at GameStop. I didn't know that. It just totally blew my mind. And I mean, I'm already out of high school when I'm seeing this guy. So it was, but it was funny that we ran across him. I don't know if Cam's gonna come back or not. Here,
He might not. What did I say, Cam? How did I offend you? Did you?
Yeah. Well,
I said 2d6. He says, I'm out of here. He just said 2d6. I only play d20s.
Yeah,
leave.
yeah. No, Cam and I have talked. So, the OGL thing was the last straw for me, and
Uh-huh.
that is when I decided to abandon WotC completely. I canceled my master tier subscription to D&D Beyond, which I had
Mhm.
way since the early days, and said, "That's it, no more." Um, That's why I've got all the CNC stuff. That's why I've got Shadow
Ah,
Dark.
there we
That's
go.
why I've got all the stuff I've bought has been since then. I've got Dragon Slayer since then. I've got, you know, um, and of course, my wife, my wife Jeanette, she would yeah, first Saturday of January. Chris says that was the Dark Sun game. But I'm itching to run again. I've got DM fever.
Oh, wow.
So I this Monday thing, I'm a little nervous about it, man. I'll be totally honest. Hopefully, they're gonna chew me up because I got a lot of work still to do on it. And now that my truck is sitting in my driveway down a slope up against the trees, that's gonna just make life even more aggravating because now I can't just run to the store and go do something. Not that I would be able to. And my
Well,
neighbors can't either because I got neighbors behind me. They can't get up the driveway. They're parked at the end of the street anyways because of the slick
sure,
conditions.
sure. I just
Ah,
noticed, by the way, I do have engineering. I have engineering castles, but that's in PDF.
okay.
So
Yeah.
I did notice that.
Did you get in on any of the Gary's stuff, World Builder stuff?
Yeah, the Zygag or the Castle Zygag and all that stuff. No, I did not. Just because I only have so much money to spend on the RPG. And so I usually try to buy, like, I'll go for the bundles, like the bag of, bundle of holding, that kind of stuff. But usually I do not get a lot of Kickstarters, just because it's cost prohibitive because of what I want, right? Like if it's a PDF, something like that, then I'm in for $20 or something like that. But with it's and I know people want to have like stuff on their shelves and they go, look what I
Oh,
have.
like I just did.
Look what I have, and I'm looking at them going, "You'll never play it. You have it on your shelf, but you're
Shh,
never gonna run it. So
my
okay,
wife is
good for
watching,
you.
man.
Good for you, buddy.
My
Glad you
yeah.
got it." I'm like,
To
"You know
me,
what? Whatever, it's fine. It's a flex. You got it. Good. Yay."
it's I lost so much stuff. I lost a lot of my third edition. I had like a Forgotten Realms campaign setting um and all the Faerun books. I had the whole set. That was my I loved all the lore books and the different stuff. And tried to run away from the Sword Coast because it kind of is a rode hard and put away wet. It's overdone. And WotC, especially with fifth edition, was afraid to do anything. They're afraid to leave the Sword Coast. They're afraid that there's so many other places to do. To go. Um, yeah, no, yeah. Soon. I want to. But we're gonna try. We're gonna try and run. Some Shadow Dark first, and then maybe somebody else can run something, and then I'll work up a Traveler game. Have you ever played Traveler?
I have not. I think I have looked through the books before, but I don't remember ever playing it.
It's a little confusing because there's multiple. Was multiple people that put it out at various times, and at one point, I think there was two different people putting it out at the same time.
Right. I know there's
So
Mongoose and, I don't know the other guy. I can't remember the other company that was doing it, but
yeah, the guy who originally started it, and yeah, um, but it's an interesting divergence because with something like that, it's a classless system,
Right.
and it's almost a mini game rolling up your characters. In Shadow Dark, you roll up your characters and boom,
Yes.
you're done.
Yeah.
In that, everybody just kind of rolls up, and when you literally are rolling up your character, and okay, now he goes on to the second phase of his career. Okay, now he goes on to the third. Is he in school, or is he goes to prison, or what? That's it's kind of an interesting divergence.
Yeah. I heard you can die you
So
rolling up your character and you're dead. Okay, good. Start over.
yeah, so you can. That's an optional rule now, but in the original,
Yeah.
yes, it was very, and it's almost a trope with Traveler, is that you can die you can die during character creation.
Yeah.
Um, and it is still in the rules that you can optionally use that as a viable thing, but you don't have to use it now. So
Okay. Well, that's good. I guess saves time.
yeah. Cam is still gone. Wow, this is the longest he's been disappeared. Oh wait.
What? Wait, what? Huh?
Oh, okay. He sent me a message. He's crashed on the other computer. He's rebooting, third reboot. So he's trying to get back to us.
He's trying. He's in another
He's trying.
dimension. He's trying to reach us.
Yeah, good. It's a good thing you did show up, because then I'd be sitting here talking to myself.
Well, you'd be talking to all these fine people that are in the chat, which we're glad
That's
that they're
true.
here.
That's
Welcome,
true.
welcome to all the chat people coming in.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, there's a lot of systems that, like I said, I have never played. You talked about playing, what did you say you played earlier?
Shadowrun.
Shadowrun. Never played Shadowrun. Anything. Once again, it all depends on the DM. I can play a
Yeah.
bad system with a great DM. That's fine. We'll mess around and do whatever. But
Yeah.
you hear things, right? I mean, all I hear is rumors until somebody tells me like the facts because they played it. The rumors are that it just does not flow well somehow. Like there's too much going on. Too much going on.
Hey, I got to do a shout out to Culture Casino. Hey, buddy, how you doing, man? Good to see you in the chat there. He's famous. He's classing up the place, man. He's trying to,
Hey, not the Epstein files, but
no.
No. I'd make a joke, but too many to make.
One day we're gonna get you on at some point, Chris. He's like, I could be on a host, because I want him to talk about that. Shadowrun. Oh yeah, Shadowrun is so.
Well, sing its praises to me. Tell me, why is it the greatest game, and tell me why. What is it about? Because I find that when people say it's the greatest game ever, maybe they played it when they were 13, 14 years old, and that thing got branded in their mind that if it's the first system you ever played, I can see why you'd say, well, it's the greatest system ever, because of the people you played with, or the memories you have out of it. But man, if you're just walking into it and you're saying, hey, I'm 30 something, 40 something years old, and so I'm going to play it, what is the enduring quality of it?
Yeah, so the oh, there, I think he's back.
What?
Cam arrived. Yeah, he lives. Oh, maybe I can make him talk here. It's a little slow. All right, Cam, are you alive? Are you okay? Did you run off the road into the trees?
Was it something I said? Cam, was it something I said?
If you offended anything, it was my laptop. So I'm okay now.
Did you see Cultures graced us with his presence? I know. We must be getting some attention now. Probably because of that whole Peter Jurassic thing. Now. Oh, look, they got somebody big on. Maybe we should pay attention. No, I love Culture, man. I support him all the time.
And a friend of Sci-Fi for Me TV.
He is. He's a friend to everybody, man. He's good people.
Right on.
Culture's great. I'd give him a shout out, but I don't I don't have a copy paste handy right now.
So what I miss?
Well, we pretty much talked about everything under the sun. No, so we were talking about Shadowrun. He wants to be sold on why Shadowrun is the greatest.
Yes, tell me.
So my introduction to Shadowrun came in the early 90s, like probably 90, 91, like literally really early. And I wanted to play. I was really into if you look at my nick, a lot of people, Death Angel Shadow is actually a character from the Neuromancer video game. Not necessarily the books, but the video game. Of course, by William Gibson, right? Gibson is the one who coined the term cyberpunk and all that stuff. So I wanted to play Cyberpunk 2020. That was the big thing at the time. And it was either that or I wanted to play, D&D, right? One of the two, right? I wanted to get back into gaming, right? And so everybody's like, well, actually, we've got this thing, and it's like Cyberpunk and D&D together. And I'm like, well, what? You can do that? Of course, I was not exposed to the Gonzo stuff. I'd only played some of the classic stuff. So the whole, even some of the, some of the classic modules that did kind of go off into the Gonzo era. You got aliens and dragons. You got laser swords and halberds. So kind of a everything. But we got really into it, and we took a lot of the cyberpunk stuff and stuck it in Shadowrun because it's all same thing. I was an elven decker. You could play they had all the traditional fantasy races. Now, the concept of it is there's ages of magic, okay? And in the near future, the age of the what is it? The seventh age of magic returns or whatever. And people like CEOs of big giant corporations kind of turn into dragons because that's what they really are, is dragons. But when magic dies, they became human. They're the thugs are like orcs, the typical gangster thugs or whatever turn into orcs and stuff like that. They become what their true self is, what they're in the fantasy realm. So
This sounds very politically incorrect.
what? Why? Oh well, yeah, it might be.
Wait, is this
Just saying?
Is this like the Will Smith movie on Netflix?
There's a Will Smith movie.
Yeah, there's a movie where orcs are in society, like they're like, and magic is in society.
I have not seen that.
It's
I've heard about that though. Yeah, I don't know if that's based on it. I mean, but Shadowrun's been around for years, and of course when Shadow Dark came out, I always, Shadowrun, Shadow Dark, Shadow this, Shadow that.
Oh, it's called Bright. That's what it's called.
Bright, yes.
Yeah, it's called.
I have
Bright.
not seen Bright. I have not seen Bright.
It was I mean, I liked it. I mean, I watched it. I thought, oh, that's kind of cool.
Was it good?
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
And yes, Erudite, you are very correct. And I have a sneaky suspicion, and I have not read that book, but I have a sneaky suspicion that the reason why Gibson named that character was kind of a nod to Wagner. I think that's probably where my namesake comes from. Of course, I dropped the A in Death, and just DETH.
Can I give you a juicy tidbit about about my involvement with Shadowrun?
Absolutely, please do.
I was a playtester for the Shadowrun CCG way back in the day. That's it. That's my story. Sorry.
Culture, you want in? I'll bring you in.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'll give you a link. What's the best way to get it to you? Well, you take it and I'll give him the link.
Me take it?
Yeah. Take you run
Okay.
run with it.
Well, okay. Well,
Well,
yeah, oddly enough, okay, as I recall, Earth Dawn is like the older age of the Shadowrun world, right? It's and it's the same cycle going on. I think Earth Dawn was when it was coming out of one of those, and Shadowrun is when it's going into one of these cycles where fantasy elements start to take root. Oddly enough, I've never played Shadowrun. I have played Earth Dawn, well, except for the RPG. I mean, for Shadowrun, but yeah, it's one of those mashup kinds of settings. It's
Is it kind of like, is it like Rifts?
I think it's a little more controlled than Rifts. I've played Rifts a little bit, so I'm not an expert, but
right.
I think it's a little tighter in terms of setting. I know. I don't know if you know the Legion of Myth guys.
Yeah,
they're really into Rifts, so
they love them. They love them Rifts over there.
Yeah, interesting. Another interesting game, but it's it has a reputation for being a little unconstrained or a little loose.
I played one time. One time, and it was fine.
Yeah,
once again, I wasn't. I think some of these games get stuck in our. We have a zeitgeist moment at an age when we play it with people we play it with. And then that's your jam. Forever almost, right? So.
Yeah. A lot of there was a store I used to hang out, and a lot of the kids, I say kids, I was young at the time too, but they were like in high school when I was in college kind of thing. They were crazy about Rifts. It was, they couldn't get enough of it. Back with us, Jeff?
Yeah.
Well, I'd be down for a one shot if anybody is going to run one.
That would be awesome.
If they were playing it at a convention or something like that, I'd sign up for that. I'd go, I'll try it at least once.
Yeah. I've heard mixed things about the newer ones. They may have kind of gone.
Who owns Shadowrun, or who not owns, but is it Catalyst that has Shadowrun
now?
I think they might be.
And you said Earth does the same people back in the day, maybe the same people that produced Earth Dawn produced Shadowrun.
Yeah, it was FASA was the company that
FASA. Yeah. FASA was FASA made a lot of stuff.
They did.
So, but
right now we're just waiting on with bated breath for Culture Casino.
Yeah. I sent you a link, Culture. As soon as he pops in there.
So that was okay. I'm sorry to go on. The FASA to me, it seemed, because again, they didn't seem mainstream to me at the time, and those games, like Rifts and Shadowrun and such, they seemed like they were a little out there. Ooh, okay, here's our new guest, so I will shut up.
Oh, you guys are cooking. Why you stop cooking? I'm good. I can wait. You guys are going. Look,
well, you can bring the knowledge on Shadowrun.
I grew up in this age. I mean, like back when on TV was a thing, and when all these games started to come out, and some of the older people here will know what on TV was because it came out the same time as HBO did, where it was only available if you had a decryption box. So
it was like over the air, but
no.
No.
It's that same era. So when looking at something like Shadowrun, you have to understand this was a cloak and dagger concept, which is why I brought up the Disney film Cloak and Dagger. It was the same kind of an idea that you were living in a fantasy world that essentially outlined what it would be to be James Bond. You were always working for somebody else on an adversarial line. Early Star Wars games actually operated in this way as well. But regardless, if you set that all aside, this is fondly remembered because you could play that character, the James Bond of the 1960s. So in many ways, it allowed you to live out the fantasy of being a spy in a way that, well, we weren't actually doing anymore. It had been done, It was a Cold War mechanic that, had been abandoned, and that's why it was a lot of fun. So I just wanted to pop in and say I loved playing this game. I played it with my family. It wasn't a group of guys because I was too young. And we played it as a family because my dungeon master, essentially, was my dad. My dad was the dungeon master for myself and my brothers.
Wow.
And it was one of those games where you got to role play in the most creative way possible, but because your reference points were James Bond or something similar at the time, even go back and look at Condor Man and things like that, there was a lot of creativity. Your imagination could run wild within that world, and a good dungeon master would allow for that to play out. So it's one of those things. It's like even within the champion system, you could live in a different way. So I always felt like the things that were the alternates to the original were sometimes often better than the highly constrained guardrails that you're put within, just like with AI these days. So it's just like if you can pull the guardrails off of something, it allows you a broader playing field. Is that the right way to describe it? So
Yeah.
So I like I said, my character oftentimes within even the Star Wars universe where I played a corporate type of character. I enjoyed that so much more. If you back up to Vampire Masquerade, it was so much more satisfying to live within the envelope of being able to be a corporate spy, even within Vampire the Masquerade. It was satisfying because it was outside of the lines of the norm that you were often tied into
Right.
with most of the other operating systems that existed. TSR unfortunately created too many constraints, and that led to their ultimate destruction. And look, it wasn't Gary's fault. Gary didn't try to create that kind of level of constraint, but eventually that's what happens when you corporatize anything. You're laying down a set of rules that doesn't allow for creativity or observation of the ability to live outside of those rules.
Well, I mean,
And
look
that's why Lucasfilm was not as successful as they could have been later on.
Yeah.
Had they gone with what Lucas had originally imagined, which was what if on Coruscant we were able to look at the underworld and what the criminal elements were doing.
Right.
That was the natural direction for Star Wars, and that's kind of ultimately what led to its destruction was the feminization by Kathleen Kennedy
Right.
and the inability to be more flexible with what existed outside of the original framework. So anyway, those are my thoughts. Sorry. I
No,
can
that's
talk forever. Tell me to shut up at some point, please.
It's all right, Culture. Yeah. Try not to die here.
Oh, believe me, I did that very recently. November was my month trying not to die, so I get you.
Yes, but did you slide off the road into trees going down your driveway at 5 miles an hour?
No.
I did.
I set new high score records for blood pressure in the hospital.
Oh man,
Yeah.
that's horrible.
Yeah, I didn't do good.
Yeah. Welcome to the club there.
Hope you're doing better now.
And by the way, Davina is correct. The games we were playing back in the 80s was West End Games. I was a huge fan of them. In fact, I pushed that on my friends. As we got deeper and deeper from the 80s into the 90s, living in the fantasy world that I wanted to push out to everybody.
Yeah.
Those were the games I was engaged with because that was the most creative. TSR was too locked down. Not Gary's fault. Again, big fan of Gary, but it was too locked down at the time, which again led to me, moving on and forward. And that's how I got into the very launch of WotC, before Wizards of the Coast got compromised by, well, what they
Hasbro.
are now. Yeah.
Hasbro.
Well before Hasbro. I mean, we were developing cards. We were playing the game at a rate where I had alpha and beta lands in my hand. So again, it's a different. I lived in a slightly different world because of the people I was doing these things with.
Right.
And all I can say is, when I look back in time, it was a privileged existence in the fantasy world, but the people that were doing it were immensely creative, and we don't have that anymore.
Yeah.
It's gone.
Yeah. Agreed. I did have one West End Games. It was Torg.
I remember seeing that.
I did not play it, but I read the books, and the books were fantastic. Because you had, just like kind of like Shadowrun in that regard, you had portals opening up everywhere, and all kinds of things coming in from various ages of history or mythology or those type of things. And so the books were fantastic. I never got a chance to play the game though.
Yeah. Look, and I'm sorry I came in with a slogan. Crit happens. It does.
Yeah,
it does. and look, I'm one of those people that enjoyed the tabletop RPG more than most humans. I was a guy that played dice like nobody's business, but the conversation was always about what your character was capable of and what they wouldn't do.
Yeah.
You understand there's no restraint right now in people that develop the games, the films, the television. They don't understand the idea of restraint. They don't understand sometimes there's morals involved.
Right.
If you look at the things that we like to throw shade at, like Star Trek right now, because it's garbage. But you look at that, and you the reason you're throwing shade, everybody, is because there's no constraint. It's indulgence. It is indulgence personified. It is indulgence edified. Actually, they lift it to the pinnacle of the apex of, well, whatever it is, representation. Let's use that word. And it doesn't resonate with the majority of people. It's a tiny little minority that they're appealing to,
right,
which means they have a very limited audience for a very short period of time. And regardless whether you believe that or not, it's reflected in the acceptance level of what we've seen, whether it be on YouTube or even their own platforms. But by the time you boil it all down to television ratings or film consumption, which is, box office receipts, you're looking at a lack of investment by an audience that should be well engaged with what you're doing. But because you've mistreated it and misrepresented it and dishonored it, nobody's there.
Yeah.
Right, because those rules, I think most people, I think have an idea of a set of their own guardrails, if you will, of how's this thing supposed to work, and if these things are so far beyond the scope of where you're looking, and you're going, wow, okay, that's just anything goes, I guess. There's no
Yeah.
there's no rules.
Lack of restraint. And look, and that's something that, look, in your life you haven't observed. There's restraint everywhere. You are governed by rules, whether it's the HOA outside or the county putting speed limit signs. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and so when we talk about it, it's like you are no longer the people who are producing this content that we're consuming. They are not governed anymore by constraints, which creates, a disparity or a lack of interest in the world that they expect to consume them.
Right.
So Hollywood hasn't done that in a long, long time. I mean, you look back in time. There Everything that you love was living within a bounds, a set of rules that, were established early on. Worlds were established in every single movie. It doesn't matter if it's What Women Want with Mel Gibson or something that's more complicated like Star Wars or Star Trek.
Yeah.
Right? There was a set of rules established very early on that were maintained throughout its entirety of existence. And so this is something most of us as creators don't talk about, but I do because I'm retarded and dumb, and nobody listens to me. But
You gotta look at Paul.
no, it's true. It's true. But that look, I'm just gonna say it. We all have to live within the lines. And Hollywood and the people associated with it stopped it. They created a different set of lines to live within, and they created less compelling characters, less compelling worlds, less compelling scenarios. So it aligned with some kind of ideology or something that didn't fit within the story, which all of a sudden made it not
It's
realistic.
forced. It's
Yeah,
forced. Yeah.
it's not realistic anymore.
And games followed suit, right? So
Games are worse. Are you kidding me? I mean,
they're far worse. But
look at what just recently happened. Jeff Keighley sacrificed his reputation for a game recently. And whatever you think of what's going on in the gaming world, High Guard is not a primary example of goodness. It's not, it's no bueno. So, and that came about because he sold out to an idea that, hey, this is visually satisfying. Nothing else about the game is, because half of the time that you spend within that game or that framework or whatever you want to call it is wasted, because you have to do all these other tasks before you actually get to the actual satisfying part of playing a game.
And
So
that's a video game. What genre is it? Is it a role playing game?
No. It's basically Apex Legends / Fortnite / every other
just another
looter
shooter
ever created. Yeah, and look, and I'm one of those people who step back and take a wider look at whatever it is going on, because I come from the business world.
Right.
So this is
it's the same mentality though,
it's
whether it's
disappointing.
video
Yeah,
games
because
or
it's the same thing from
tabletop or
it
what.
doesn't matter if it's film or television or video games. It's why didn't this work, or why doesn't this work, or and nobody ever does that. Like before you release something, you should literally step back from it and say, are there weaknesses here? Did I miss somewhere? Is there something that is unappealing here? Or is this the broadest audience I can possibly reach? And nobody does that anymore.
No.
Davina is put in there. High Guard. It's a PvP. I don't get the fascination. I mean, I kind of understand the Call of Duty, but like for me,
well,
my favorite part of like a tabletop game, the combat is my least favorite part. It's the exploration and adventure that's,
Right. And that's driven by the DM. The DM is a storyteller. No matter what you look at, if you're a tabletop guy, if you're an RPG guy, the person that's the center of the game is the guy telling the story. And we don't have that anymore, whether it be in games, whether it be in film or television.
Well,
I mean,
you don't have it in mainstream stuff. I think games like Shadow Dark, Castles and Crusades, I think even like Goodman Games, despite their Joe Goodman twisting himself in the knots trying to pander to the crowd, with that Bob Bledsoe Jr. stuff. City State of the Invincible Overlords reprint. Even their stuff, DCC, etc. I think they've latched on to that niche, but like Pathfinder, I mean, they're the Pathfinder, the people who make Pathfinder and Wizards of the Coast, the people that make D&D, they're in the same circle.
But they
just swap partners all the time. They just swap employees.
Pathfinder tried to draw a line in the middle and they failed.
Yeah.
And that's fine. I look at systems and stuff like that as a way to monitor fun. TSR didn't do that at the beginning. Gary didn't do that at the beginning. And so when you start to talk to with like the old school guys like me, like third revision guys, it's an entirely different conversation. And I experienced that world of RPGs differently than most people did. Same way I experienced Magic, right? Because I had friends who worked on and worked with the original Wizards of the Coast before they got corporatized and compromised.
Good night, Erudite.
Yeah, no, and I'm sorry. Yeah, I feel like I'm boring people's pants very much off. So
you're normally very entertaining. No, man. I appreciate you coming on, and when's the last time you got to throw dice?
Oh my God. Okay, wait a minute. So look, if we're gonna go like MTG, I get to do every once in a while because my family's invested and we're all invested. I have a huge collection of cards.
Yeah,
but
I never got addicted to cardboard crack, so I avoided it.
That's fine. That's fine. But when you get into actual art, original RPG dice throws, probably almost a year ago. Like I haven't played a good quality campaign, and the only reason it happened was because one of my friends who I trust as a DM decided we were going to do that, and we did it over the course of a 3-4 day weekend because we all planned to go on a retreat together. You understand how intimate that situation is? What other situation creates that opportunity? It doesn't happen very often. And I feel like that's what the larger conversation should be. Why don't people plan a weekend around this? I mean, I know it seems cliche because shows like Big Bang Theory and crap like that kind of threw a decent amount of shade on that practice, but it was part of everyday stuff for a lot of us. Even at a family level, for me, a familial level.
They almost kind of mocked us in Big Bang Theory, didn't
they? Actually, that's weird because it went from being like an acknowledgement of that community to a mocking of that community, and it did it over the course of 7-8 years.
Yeah,
it got to season 6, 7, 8 before they started to point fingers and laugh at the very community that they benefited from. And that's the same thing with superhero films.
Yeah,
it's not new.
Legend of the Five Rings. Have you played that, Paul?
No, I know what it is, but I have never played it.
Oh, that's my wheelhouse.
Is it really?
Yeah.
What is?
Wow.
Is that
L5R started out as a CCG that was, in my opinion, the best CCG of all time. I know I might get flack from Magic players on that. I love Magic back in the day too, but then it went into role playing, and there's still a role playing game for it currently. Actually,
is there? Okay, I think I saw a fancy table. Somebody was doing a video at Gen Con or something like that. And there's a $5,000, $10,000. I mean, we're talking a small, not a big table either, just a small table, but it's elaborate, laid out. I think that is for Legend of the Five Rings. It's like a custom designed table. It's like $10,000 or something ridiculous.
Well, and that's the kind of stuff that I lean into because that's where I came from. It's original RPGs, original card games. I mean, again, that's my origination story, if you were gonna like try to talk about me as somebody who came up through all the nonsense, it would be, I know people who worked here. I know people who worked there. I did some stuff in video games. I did other things over here. And and so when you talk about it, it's like, I liked all of these ideas, but unfortunately they got abused in the worst possible way because they became quote unquote content. The
Yeah.
minute you moved from entertainment and engagement of your audience to content, you became less desirable.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you guys will agree with me, but I think that's probably
Well,
the most true
well,
thing.
I mean, you look at the material like that. What really nothing for fifth edition has been particularly great. There was some good stuff, but it was like all unfinished. And then as it seemed like about the time Tasha's came out, everything started devolving, and they started pushing the message and
Well,
everything. And
yeah. What
uh,
was it? There was a great author, Sword of the something or another, or Quest of Honesty, some other bullshit, whatever it
yeah,
was. I always felt like that was the path to descent into darkness.
yeah,
The idea that, social ambiguous pursuit of modernity happened at that point in time.
yeah.
Sort of truth. I know I'm gonna get flack for this, and I don't care. But somebody's laughing. It's fine. It's fine. But it's true. I mean, it was a descent into darkness that most people weren't prepared for, because they didn't understand that it was bringing in the idea of mediocrity.
Yeah.
Modernity is mediocrity, which is acceptance of everybody's equal and nobody's superior to anybody. And that's where
Well,
it all
you
everything died.
well, you've
Um,
you've got that with the that's one of the mainstream, uh, like with Wizards of the Coast with the 2024 edition especially. I call it the Grey Goo edition because the problem is if your fighter can cast spells, what makes the magic user special? You know,
well, it's like everybody's a paladin at that point. But it's just look, I mean,
or a cleeric, or they're
I
all, I mean, it's
well,
everybody's
look,
everything.
so if we want to point fingers, Terry Goodkin's a douchebag. I mean,
Yeah.
let's be honest. I mean, okay, maybe that's not nice, but it's the truth. And look, that's the moment at which I think um substantial damage was done to the genre, and it makes us argue all the time. I
Yeah.
I don't want to argue about an RPG. If we're gonna play a game together, I want to sit back. I want to draw a dungeon. I want to lead you through an adventure, and I want there to be a beginning and an end, and good and bad, and all the things in between. And I don't care what your alignment is. By the way, I don't care how you process through what happens in the story. What I
Well,
care about is the ultimate result. Are you successful or do you suck and you all die?
yeah.
You
Well,
know,
Paul runs for kids, teenagers, and he was talking at the beginning of the show. We were talking about what he's done with the kids at the Boys and Girls Clubs
right,
that he goes to,
right.
and he's like, they, the first thing, what was it out of the bat? They're wanting to sacrifice one of their
Savages.
own.
Yeah, they were a bunch of savages. They were wanting to
Well,
sacrifice their own players. Uh,
anyway, does that not speak to the world they live in now?
well, but I don't know. It tells me that there's hope. That they didn't care.
They're feral.
They didn't care one way or another. They were like, listen, hey, we're gonna play this game and we're gonna go for it, and we're not worried about everybody's personalities. And I didn't have to use any
So
X cards, and I didn't have to use any coded words. We just played. Nobody brought up
We had
anything.
fun,
Nobody said
right?
anything.
That was fun.
They just played. They just played, and they were like feral children running around in these characters, and they just acted, as one would when you have permission to use your imagination.
Are they at that age? Are they still Gen Z or are they Gen
No.
Alpha?
No.
Some are Gen, depends, if they're Gen Alpha, it could be, the youngest. Gen Z, I think they're Gen Alpha mostly, though.
Because I've heard Gen Alpha referred to as like Gen X squared.
They could be, and they
Yeah.
do have some of those vibes to them. So I don't I
So
don't put
that
it
would be
past them in
good
that
though.
regard.
I mean,
Well,
get
yeah,
out and
I mean,
play.
Look,
Break an arm.
clearly, we're all old people. So I'm
Yeah.
Gen X, I think.
Yeah, me too.
I don't know.
I think
I
all
was-
of us here on this are Gen X.
Yeah. So when we start talking about this, we go, okay, I admired this because these are my peeps.
Yeah.
And I feel like, the world's not hopeless when we have, other people who like align with what you're describing. So let me ask you this. When they get involved in a game, is it ultimately to achieve the goal? Do they have an established goal when you start the game?
Yeah, they do, but I don't know if they care much about that. They're like, listen,
Wow.
now some do. Some I'll paint the scenario. One group will say, yeah, that's the direction we're going to go, and the other group says, oh, okay, well, can we go over here and do something over here? Sure, you can do that. So one group's a little bit more exploratory, and one's a little bit more dialed in. I had a group of kids, you don't know what they're going to do. I don't know what they're going to do half the time. So, one group wanted to capture a troll. I said, great. How are you going to do that? Well, and this is, by the way, a group of girls, all girl group.
Wow.
And she decides to say that she's going to throw her rope over the troll and catch him. I said, great. I said, okay, you are now currently being dragged into the woods. By a troll being dragged through the forest. And of course, then all the other girls said, well, I said, what are you guys going to do? So, well, we're going to grab the rope. So they had to do strength check. They had to say, can we hold him? Can we get him there? And then they did this. I don't know what they're going to do. I was like, what are you going to do? Well, we're going to throw him. They were at a ranch of some kind because it was eating the sheep or whatever. So they decided to pull him using their strength checks, pulling him into like the guest house. And one of them was playing a paladin in Castles and Crusades. So you get your horse. The horse decides to run right into the troll, just run him right in and knock him into the thing. They tied him up. They poisoned a bunch of bacon and then fed it to him.
There you go.
Wow.
And that's what they did. I'm like,
that's what we need.
That sounds like the U.S. government. Holy shit.
So they were like, hey, that's how we're going to. I said, well, I felt a little bit bad for the bacon. I mean, we wasted good bacon on that.
Good rations, man.
Yeah, you could use rations. But that's how they were going to do it. I said, look what's in your pack, right? I said, what do you have available? They said, well, I have poison. And so I said, I have bacon. They went, yes, let's
poison
do that.
Bacon. Hey,
poison bacon. So they fed it to them and they killed the troll, and that's how they went about their business. So, I said, great, good for you guys. You figured out something that was not traditional, right? You did something that was like,
it lived within that world, and the fact that you let it proceed in that way is something that I believe TSR Games and all these other douchebags wouldn't allow to live.
Yeah,
because they're too concerned with the appropriateness of actions. And look, I mean, we live in a society that's concerned about that. What's outlined in what's going to be public, what's going to be acceptable. And honestly, most people have a broader acceptance of what reality would be. And we haven't had that in a long time. Like, I mean, think about what Michael Jackson was. Think about where things were 35 years ago. 35 years ago, we accepted presentations of the widest possible audience. Feed the world. We had the most liberal aspects of culture directing what was acceptable day to day, but at the same time, we also had the corporatism existing more farther in the background. We don't have that anymore.
Real quick, hold on
Go
a
ahead.
second, Culture.
Sorry.
Cam is getting ready to go to another show.
Sorry.
He's got Sci-Fi Snobs
I feel bad.
Top Lofty Lounge coming up at the top of the hour. Cam, what's going on with it tonight?
We're talking board games, actually. So sci-fi board games, a little bit of fantasy, maybe some horror. So yeah, if you guys get done, check it out.
Yeah.
Bring up my favorite board game, Dungeon.
Oh, that's a classic for sure.
I know, for sure.
All right.
Sci-Fi Snobs channel. I just dropped the link here in the chat.
Awesome.
Everybody check him out. Of course, check out every Wednesday our Babylon 5 retrospective, which is at normally 11 p.m. Eastern. We had Peter Jurczyk on this past Wednesday.
Oh, that was so great.
Did you get to watch it?
Yeah. I was talking to Jason about it. I'm like, it's great when you're not on the show.
Yeah. he was such a delightful, and until we ran into a little bit of echo at the very tail end of the interview. I'm guessing his noise cancellation or echo cancellation was probably failed at that point or something like that. So we were hearing ourselves through his microphone.
Yeah, but still, I mean, I always make fun of Jason because I'm like, hey, the Tangled Shadows.
Yeah.
Great
That's
job.
me. Yeah, talks keeps me.
Dude, I love it. That's why I keep perpetuating that. The Tangled
Yeah. No, man, I love talks too. Hopefully we can get some more subs on my channel here.
Oh, dude, for sure.
Tennessee Tabletop Tavern. If you're watching on Sci-Fi For Me TV, appreciate it.
Yeah.
But my channel is the Tennessee Tabletop Tavern. I do multicast it on both, and Cam and I we're trying to do this thing and get some interesting guests on. Paul, I greatly appreciate you coming out tonight. This was a makeup exam for him. Did you catch the chalkboard in there in the intro?
I did.
Yeah. Okay.
Dude, you guys were killing it tonight. I was like, okay, I gotta annoy you. So
yeah. Hey, no, I Culture, man. Yeah. Everybody needs to. Everybody.
No.
Everybody knows who
don't
you
promote.
are.
Don't even promote me. Look, I'm here because this is the stuff that I love. I don't get to talk about, so I had a good time. Just
if you ever want to talk about games, tabletop stuff, or board games or whatever, man, hit me up. You know how to get hold of me.
This is the world I used to live in. It's like you guys a Shadowrun. The minute you said that, I was like, oh no. We're talking about this. I mean, like it's familial. That's what most people don't understand. That you get involved in this because your whole family is involved in it, or they should be. It's that's where you should be.
Yeah, but
anyway, I gotta go fight the power, and Epstein.
Well, you do that. We'll catch you. When's your next? No,
I'm 5 days a week. Weekdays, you get the 6-minute daily. You get a video drop every day, at least one, if not 4. And because I don't sleep a lot, and the boss keeps me busy.
When you move,
she's yelling in the other room right now, which means I need to figure out whatever it is.
Give her my best. And
And by the way, I survived. By the way, guys, check your blood pressure because it's important. Try not to die. Okay. Anyway,
solid advice.
Having had a heart attack
already. Wait, let me write that down.
Don't die. Yeah, try not to die. It's really important. Go check out all these beautiful gentlemen I got to hang out with this evening. And I'm sorry I'm not on screen, but I'm in the dark because I had to turn on lights. That'd be expensive. So I'm gonna go.
Thanks for coming,
guys.
That's all right. Once again, that's my truck. That's sitting on my driveway up against those trees. Yeah, so I got to deal with that tomorrow. Figure out how to get it. I've got neighbors behind me too. That's a shared driveway, but they were smart and made it down the hill earlier, so they're actually parked at the bottom of the driveway, at the very tail end. So
Davina brings up this movie, by the way, it's coming out with Sam Rockwell called Good Luck. I think it's called Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die, which looks like it's a sci-fi-ish movie, I think, where a guy comes from the future that we know, and it's got Sam Rockwell, so I'm in with Sam Rockwell because it looks like a lot of fun.
Is this Davina that was talking about it?
Yeah.
Where did I?
Good luck, have fun, don't die.
Oh, okay. Oh,
So
okay.
watch
I
the
didn't
trailer.
recognize that. I was like,
Sorry to
Yeah.
cut in. I am going to jump. It's been great talking to you and meeting you,
too, Cam.
and really appreciate it.
Yes,
all
sir.
right.
My pleasure. Thanks for having
And
me.
once again, everybody tune in to Sci-Fi Snob tonight, coming up at the top of the hour, and we're gonna wrap up here in a minute. And Cam, we'll see you over there, and maybe they have a Discord. They're gonna have a Discord chat afterwards, possibly. So,
Right on.
in the meantime, check out Paul's zines here.
Yeah, the
on
brand
Drive
new one
Thru.
is out, by the way, just to plug that. 31 NPCs.
I
use to
know,
drop
man.
your
I got to go through and watch them all. Are you going to is the zine? The zine has all
It's out.
31 of them now.
It's already out. Yeah, 31, and members may get a few more. So I have a few
Okay.
extra in the. I have a few extra in the thing there, so I will get those ready and maybe put those out to members. But yeah, it's the 31 NPCs is out now. You can drop it into any kind of game that you want to do. So yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, we look forward to it. Paul, if you don't mind sticking around, I'm going to go ahead and roll the credits. We'll chat for a minute, and then I will let you go free. I know it's getting probably late for you. You got to.
Yeah, I got to go to work tomorrow.
Oh man,
Come
what time
on.
you have to? What time you have to work in the morning?
Well, tomorrow I got a staff meeting, so it's like I got to be there at 9:30, and it's a 40-minute drive. So
my work is right here. This is my work machine is over here. This is my desktop. That's
this
my
is
work
hopefully I would
garbage.
like this to be my job one day if I got enough not just YouTube money, but doing other things, creating and selling resources and that kind of stuff. That'd be nice. Hello to Agile Monk, by the way. Thanks for stopping by.
Oh yeah, he's got some big stuff in the works. Let me tell you.
All right. Well, we're going to be anxious to hear about that. I hear the same thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, Agile liked my 31 NPCs. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. It was a good fun series to do. I just did one every day, and I think there's a lot of interesting characters you can drop into your game from there.
Yeah, I think we're going to try and get Agile to run something at some point, or join us for one of the sessions. He couldn't make it on the Shadow Rim because of timing, but we're going to try and do something in the future on that Monday thing, which is tomorrow night. It'll be streamed on my channel, Erudite's channel. I don't know who else. I don't know if anybody else is streaming it. Bacon, Better with Bacon, might be streaming it too. He's part of that. I don't know if Matt I don't know if it's Lord Matthias, Lord
Matthias.
Yeah. I don't know, Matt.
Just Matt.
The lawyer. I thought him, and when I first started following him, I thought they were both in Texas, but then I was like, no, Gary's in Texas and Matt's up in New York, and I'm like, oh wow, okay, because he was talking about just driving over to, for the Arduin, which is shipping out tomorrow. So I guess I do have to get my truck moved so that the delivery people can get up my right now they're not going to get up my driveway, but
no.
Yeah, your job in life checked at the proverbial drive-through. Yeah, well, my truck is sitting in my driveway. It slid off, and I was stopped by the trees. Let's just say, fortunately,
yes,
because down would have been in my neighbor's yard, and I didn't want to go down in my neighbor's yard. So, at any rate, but I digress. All right, I'm going to kick the credits. Everybody, go over and follow Sci-Fi Snob. Be sure to like and subscribe. Comment whether you're on the Discord or on the or I'm sorry, whether you're on the Rumble stream or on my Tennessee Tabletop Tavern channel, or you're following on Sci-Fi For Me TV. Anyway, like, subscribe, all that stuff. Follow everybody. I'm gonna kick the credits now. stick around for me for a minute, Paul, and we will have an after chat for a minute, and I'll kick you out of here.